Eyewitness News starts with a severe weather alert.
Right now on Live at 5, thunder, lightning, heavy rain coming down throughout the area. Let's get straight to Chief Meteorologist Travis Herzog tracking all of these storms. And Travis, in some areas within the loops, boy, it is coming down hard.
Yeah, Art, this is an intense but localized thunderstorm, and we have a flash flood warning currently in effect that stretches from west to east along the I-10 corridor. Very intense rainfall rates in this storm. We've been seeing rainfall rates over 4 inches per hour, and we've had nearly 4 inches of rain verified by a Harris County Flood Control District rain gauge here near the villages on the western edge of the Galleria Uptown District. And so right where San Felipe crosses over Buffalo Bayou, that rain gauge is registering almost 4 inches of rain, and most of that falling in just a half hour's time. So we're very likely seeing some significant street flooding here west of the West Loop, and also the potential for some street flooding farther east as well, with over 2 inches of rain that has fallen. Now, when we do a 3D slice through the thunderstorm, we're seeing the tops hitting a little over 30,000 feet. So this is just on the verge of severe. It's been producing some pea-sized hail and some winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour. So it's just shy of severe thresholds. The bigger concern is that possibility of some street flooding. It's the kind that if you drive your vehicle through those low water spots, your engine may drown. So we say turn around, don't drown, both for you and your vehicle's sake. This storm is sitting nearly stationary. It has not been budging very much. And what's basically happened here is it's taken a big breath of air in and shot upward, and now it's breathing out. And so we're seeing some of that hail. We're seeing those gusty winds and a tremendous amount of lightning as well. But the lightning count has been going down. That's a sign that this storm that has prompted the flash flood warning is in the process of now weakening. Just about 10-15 minutes ago, that lightning count was over 300 lightning strikes in a 10-minute window. It's now down to 119. Certainly, though, producing a lot of noise, especially here in the southwest corner of the loop. All the neighborhoods there just inside that southwest corner along Brays Bayou, definitely hearing those intense lightning strikes and rumbles of thunder. There's also a broader flood advisory that covers more of Harris County, and so it's possible as you're driving around town or your loved ones are trying to get their way home, they might be delayed by some high water spots, especially on those residential streets that have just been overwhelmed with those high rainfall rates. Most of our street drainage is designed to handle 2 inches of rain in 1 hour's time, and we've seen 2 inches fall in less than 30 minutes. In fact, we've seen an inch of rainfall in just 15 minutes, and that can also trigger some widespread street flooding. So when we pull out the view a little bit, you'll see that there's this thin blue-green line that is pushing away from the main storm over Houston. That is what's called the outflow boundary. So if you're south of there, say in Pearland, Sugarland, you may be seeing this dark cloud coming your way. You're feeling the wind pick up, but not a lot of rain. That is the rain-cooled air that is rushing out of this thunderstorm that blossomed right over the heart of Houston, and that could cause additional development off to the south. Basically, we had the sea breeze come in from the south and a boundary coming from a storm earlier near Conroe. Those collided right along the I-10 corridor, and that's what has led to this very intense thunderstorm. So there are some other spots that are getting rain, but the most significant storm right now that could cause damage to life and property, that is located over Houston and Harris County, again, primarily due to the flooding, but there's also the lightning threat. We say when thunder roars, go indoors, and you will occasionally hear some little tings on the roof, and that is the small hail that is coming down. We've seen radar estimates closer to a quarter, but on the ground, reports so far have been around pea size or less, including what we had right here at Channel 13. And again, the winds gusting below those severe thresholds. If those gusts got up to around 60 miles per hour, that would trigger a severe thunderstorm warning. We have stayed below those levels, but they're certainly pushing around the branches of those trees. Now, FutureTrack shows that these storms will continue pushing off to the south as that boundary continues to spread towards the upper Texas coastline. And so things will wind down over Houston in the next couple of hours. And by 8 o'clock tonight, we see a significant reduction in both the coverage and the intensity of the rain. And by the time we get to 10 o'clock this evening, it should be completely dry again outside. And guess what? We're probably going to do this all over again Tuesday afternoon and Wednesday afternoon. It may not hit the same neighborhoods, but the same basic pattern remains in place. We'll stay on top of these current thunderstorms that are popping up, and we'll also show you what's happening out in the tropics, because things are certainly getting active out there. But for the rest of this evening, stay put if you can, if you're near one of these big thunderstorms, and especially if you are under that flash flood warning. Otherwise, if you have to move around, keep the umbrella with you, keep a close eye on Live Mega a Doppler 13 as well. Temperatures will be rain-cooled now for the rest of the evening in the upper 70s and the lower 80s. If anything changes with that storm or we get more reports of higher accumulations, we'll hop right back in and give you the weather in terms of what's happening there. And again, another update on the tropics is coming up a little later on as well.
All right, Travis, thanks for the big update right there. We also want to take you to ABC 13's Marla Carter. She's at Southwest Houston with a look at conditions there. Marla?
That's right, Eric. We are at Bissonnette and Wesleyan, right near Westview, and I want you to see what we're seeing. You can see I'm in the street right now, but it looks like I'm in a lake. It's very high water, rapidly rising water, and you can even see some of these cars have actually stopped. Unsure right now if they're actually have water in their tailpipes or not, but very high water, and a lot of cars parking in these parking lots. All these parking lots, you see these cars with their flashers on, people pulling over, trying to get out of the way. I just talked to somebody. They said, we're here from the desert. We're actually literally visiting from the desert, and we've never seen anything like this. Well, welcome to Houston. This is what we're seeing right now. A lot of high water, rapidly rising. You see those cars kind of taking their time, going very slow. But what's so concerning, of course, is we just don't know how high this water is, and you can't really see where you're going. And we talk about, you know, we just heard Travis saying, turn around, don't drown. And the thing that you don't see right here is you do not see those yellow dotted lines on the road, which really don't show us just how high the water is. And you look back here, you see all these cars that are actually just stopped. Cannot get any further down Wesleyan here because the water is simply so high. And you see this other individual who realized, hey, the water's probably a little too high there. I better stop. I will tell you, my boot is right here, so about 3 feet up, and it's going over my boot right here on the edge of the road. So that just gives you an idea of how high the water is. And look, that's the median. The median over here to the right, Noe, that is like almost, you see all the waves of water going over the median here. So that just shows you how high the water is. It's hard to distinguish between the median and the road. And again, the water and the rain just keeps coming down. So that's what's really concerning. I'm going to give you a look on the other side here. We're making our way down Wesleyan, and you just see some more stalled vehicles in the road because, again, all of this rain coming down so rapidly, people really didn't have a chance to respond. And I want you to look over, actually, to the Randall's parking lot. You just see cars everywhere, and it really isn't sort of this organized parking situation. I think people kind of just got where they could and got to the highest ground, and that's what we're seeing here. You see some cars with their flashers on. You see people pulled over, waiting out, doing what they should, but certainly unfortunate. We hope that these people are okay, and hopefully that their cars are okay. Hopefully they're okay, but we certainly know how things can rapidly change here very, very differently, Eric.
All right, wow, this is, you know, this place is notorious, Marla, for flooding. I mean, every time it rains a few inches and it's really hard, fast, this is what happens on Wesleyan. Those cars in the middle may not be stalled, but they're at least there because they're afraid to go off to the edge because it's a lot deeper on the edge. But clearly the cars off to the left over there, those are clearly stalled. But Marla, you've visited this place before. Every time it rains, this place floods.
It does, and that's the concern, actually. We were actually trying to make our way somewhere else and said, wait, we need to stop and get into one of these parking lots like everyone else, because we do know that this area does typically flood, does take on a lot of water, and it does look like at least a lot of people are aware of that. They pulled over, they've stopped. I am somewhat concerned for some of these cars because it does look like the water is above their tailpipe, and again, the water keeps rising, so I certainly hope everyone is okay. But if you are in this area, do not go down Wesleyan. I mean, look at this truck, barely making it through. You know, and so that's, and look at all the waves of water going with it. And the thing that's
he's creating quite a wake there.
Right? When you're driving, you can't see.
Yeah, that's and that's
quite a wake for all the other vehicles.
And that's not a really, really high-profile vehicle, but it is higher profile, of course, than those sedans. But that created quite a wake going through there. Oh, let's see if the firefighters or police officers or emergency crews here are able to get through. Let's see what they're going to do.
Now they're making their way.
Yeah, and they're of course, this is you can't get higher profile than this. They're usually pretty high. Their wheels enough. They're not slowing down at all.
That's going to create a little bit of a wave right there.
Yeah, I think so.
And of course, we
you
don't
can
know
practically.
what they're prone to. Yeah, Yeah, definitely a big wave.
Yeah, you can practically wakeboard on that, right, Eric?
Looks like
I
you
know
can,
your sons
yeah.
do that. Look at that. Look at that wake up against that vehicle. You could almost see it floating. That sedan that's on the edge, when
Yeah,
that wake
black-
came through.
That black Porsche right there, that definitely not looking good for that car.
No,
Looks like
that's an
that is
expensive
definitely
repair, isn't it?
stalled out.
Yeah, that's an expensive repair for that. Now, we did see someone walking as well. Look at that. Look at the wake, how it moved
It just
that
shook
sedan.
that silver sedan.
Yeah, it just moved that vehicle.
Not clear where these first responders here in the firefighter unit are going, what call they're responding to. They just happen to come by during Marla's live report here.
There's
but
another
it's not
pickup
clear,
right there.
where they're headed or what
That
the
looks
call
like-
is for this.
Yeah, that's
this
a
Jeep
small
right here.
Jeep or a Humvee there, and that's going to be able to get through. But that's, boy, that is high.
It's going
That's
up over the hood a little bit.
Yep. It's going over the hood, but you are right, Marla. That is that area is pretty high with water. It looks like it has slowed down there, at least in raining. Is that right, Marla?
Yeah, the rain is starting to lighten up, and that is certainly the good news here. Glad to see that. Now, we do see a whole bunch of people here over at the bike barn. You can see just kind of standing here watching, waiting for all of the rain to stop. Glad to see that they're all safe. But look at this person. You talked about the car that you saw moving, that sedan you said that was moving from that wake. Now you see an individual behind it. Looks like they're maybe trying to push that car, but certainly not in a very good situation there, as it did really just take on water so quickly. And we know just how quickly things can change just so rapidly here in Houston. I mean, just in a matter of minutes, it seems like all of a sudden the water rises so quickly, the road is almost a river. And that's what we've seen again here. And I certainly hope this individual is okay.
Yeah, he looks
like he's fine. I
okay.
think
Yeah.
He's just upset because his Porsche is flooded.
Right. He's just a little bit shamed right now because he's dealing with a $90,000 vehicle that's flooded, and he's going to have an awfully high repair bill. But you got to feel for the guy. I
You
mean,
do,
the poor
because
guy.
first of all, as we noted, this area is notorious for flooding quickly, and the rain
Yes.
has been coming down at a great clip right here in this area. So
very hard.
I don't think he wanted to get the car flooded, but I think that street flooded that fast.
Yeah, it really did. And there's another vehicle that was able to get through. We've only seen the high-profile vehicles go through, but I understand we got to get to a break, Marla. We're going to come back shortly, so we'll go to a break, and we'll be back in just a moment, right here on Live at 5, covering the huge thunderstorms as they move across the Houston area.